to the Bronx Journal. The Washington Heights Artist Movement, also known as WHAM, is a diverse collective of established artists, entrepreneurs, educators, committed to motivating young minds through the arts. It's a new youth organization with a lot of promise. And with us tonight is Lethy Liriano, founder of WHAM. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having us.
So tell me, what is WHAM all about?
Well, as you said, WHAM stands for the Washington Heights Artist Movement. So we're based out of the Washington Heights sector of New York City. And it's just a neighborhood with so much culture and so much talent, where there's a lot of public schools and a lot of dropout rates. So a lot of the youth need motivation to stay involved. So we're bringing arts to them. We're bringing exposure, taking them to shows, introducing them to artists who already have established careers, such as myself. I'm a vocalist. I've gone through my own journey. So I'd like to just share that, and a bunch of us, dancers, culinary artists, martial artists, aviation arts, possible career opportunities involved with the arts, and bringing that into the Heights and in the future to other underserved communities.
So, but when you say it's a movement, what does the movement do? Does it have an established location, or are you all over the place performing or presenting in art galleries? What happens through WHAM?
WHAM does everything that you just mentioned. I mean, we've had the movement, you can say, is going from borough to borough, because some of the artists that have come onto the project are from Brooklyn. We've got Cavalier and Treasure there in Japan right now, representing at Japan Music Week, where there's artists from all over. We sent our own correspondent, who's a photographer, to document their experience. So it's a movement of actually getting around and meeting and building in different areas of the city. But it's a movement of creating a new future and outlook for artists, young artists, because young artists have so much passion, especially at the beginning of their careers, but sometimes they reach roadblocks and they don't have support systems. So since some of us have already been through getting into labels or getting treated a certain way, being told you have to be a certain type of way to be an artist, we want to just get rid of all that, and just like we provide opportunities for young artists to get on open mics, to go to workshops with other artists that have more experience, to teach them how to have stage presence, to dance. It's not about, sometimes being a musician isn't about being famous or being on MTV. It's about honing your talent and your inner artist. So all of that.
Is there like a membership, or is it an informal thing? How does it work?
Right now our membership is mostly the artists who have come on. Some of them have degrees in classical music and piano. We all have different backgrounds, but we're all that's where the established part comes. We have many experiences. But the membership right now is mostly that, because we're a pretty young organization. But what we're looking for is that venue now. So right now we're meeting in local schools, local nonprofits that are offering us space to create things. But in the future, what we want to do is, as I said, create safe spaces in underserved communities for artists and youth to convene, create, and learn. That's part of our mission.
And why? Why was there a need for this, especially in Washington Heights? Not enough places for artists to show their stuff?
Definitely. I think artists in general don't get a lot of support. There's not a big artist union for, for your independent artists that are hip hop artists. They travel the city with their backpacks and pay their tolls and and nobody's backing them up, So, can you repeat the question?
So no, basically what you're telling me is that because there's power in unity, right? Because
yes.
You've all come together, now you can do more, or you can convince different establishments to actually host events for you?
Exactly. And when we have our own safe space, that comes from the idea that a lot of kids are out on the street because they can either be home or at school, and sometimes those are volatile environments for them. So we say get the kids out of the streets, but where's the other option? So we want to create this safe space with a film studio, with a music recording studio, with a dance studio, with mirrors, just all the abundance that there can be for an artist, and then have the backup and the educators and mentors, which is people more in the older generations that have more experience in the arts, there to teach them and motivate them. And then that'll of course extend into other social services, like getting them back into their education if that's what they're looking for, or career counseling, but still helping them maintain their artistry.
So who are these people who are members of WHAM? Performers?
Yes.
Singers? I imagine musicians?
Yes.
Artists?
We have culinary artists. We have a very strong culinary arts team that has provided meals for all our building processes.
Wow, sounds like
for our
that
board
part
members.
right there sounds like a lot of fun.
Delicious and wonderful. And the kids can come in and learn how to chop things up and create meals and, organize themselves. We've got North from Division X. We have a lot of underground artists. Homeboy Sandman, who's been on MTV, he's down with the movement. We've created a theme song, which we're going to use for branding and put it out on YouTube. We're using the internet as
Sounds like it's mostly young people?
Yeah, I would say I think we're all young when we're artists and we're still pursuing the art. So yes, I would say that. But we're focusing on reaching out to real youth, like teenagers, 20-something-year-olds that sometimes once you hit 18, you don't get any services. But still, because you're 20, 21 doesn't mean you don't need that support. So definitely adolescents, teenagers to come on.
Is there some part of this that's about keeping the young people on the right path?
Definitely.
And off the wrong track?
Yes. They say kids are outside and they act up, but it's like they're bored. And you'll hear almost any young person, if you work with young people or you know you have children, they're always like, I'm bored, and especially in such a fast-paced society. So this is just a place where they can go after school, they can get some help with homework, they can meet some cool artists that maybe they've seen on YouTube or on TV, you know, still small, not commercial with a big record label, but you know, good artists that they respect, and they can come in there and pursue different arts. If they're into dancing, maybe they should be on a theater stage as well. You know, they can get that.
It's all about networking, I guess, too, because somebody will introduce you to somebody who's putting on this other production, and that kind of stuff goes on, I imagine.
Definitely.
Right?
When we get together, everybody exchanges information, and sometimes someone needs a photo shoot, so a photographer from WHAM will go support their venue. So we're all a strong support system for one another.
And what about the funds? How do you finance all your events? Where do you get the money?
As I said, we're a young organization, so we're still getting our paperwork together. But recently, we were offered a fiscal sponsorship from the Dominican Women's Development Center, also in Washington Heights. So now we'll begin to start writing grant proposals at possible federal grants and things like that. But right now, for example, for WHAM, our WHAM in Japan campaign, we sent Ivan Ferrer Andino from IFA Photography to Japan for Japan Music Week, along with Kevin Treasure. And we had a couple of fundraisers, events.
To pay for his ticket?
Yes, and we all supported him to go out there, his hotel room, his stay for 5 days, and he was able, that exposure for him as a photographer, he came back with so many stories. And as an instructor in photography, he can point that out to the young kids, and they can see that on our own, without federal funding, we can still accomplish great things and be international.
Why Washington Heights? You think that area there is that you mentioned earlier that there's a lot happening there culturally?
Such a beautiful neighborhood. I was raised in Washington Heights, in Fort Washington Avenue. And I guess Washington Heights, because as the founder, that's my experience. I know the space is needed there. I'm a social worker in the community right now, and I see that the children are lacking drive and motivation and kind of support. Many of them are interested in spoken word and dancing. They don't know where to go to find that. So in addition to that, it's a community that's changing a lot right now. Different people are coming in and purchasing different properties. We've got Columbia University in the area as well. So slowly the neighborhood is changing. A lot of small businesses are closing, and I want to capture what it is right now at this time through the arts, through photographing it, through creating events and, you know, new lounges that are in the area and getting people up there to know what it is as of now and grow with Washington Heights.
So where do you see WHAM in 5 years?
In 5 years, WHAM will hopefully have a space, a beautiful building with nice colors and scents and sounds where kids can come and feel safe and get the support they need to pursue their artistic careers, or other careers and their education, and, you know, meet young adults that they are inspired by and that will be their mentors. And then we'll move on to future neighborhoods. But depending on our model, we'll take that to the Bronx. We'll take that to the Lower East Side, where there's other talented young people looking for that type of support.
I imagine because you're in Washington Heights, you also have a lot of events or performances that are in Spanish.
Yes.
So it's a bilingual thing
yes.
most of the time?
Definitely. We cater to both English and Spanish speaking. The music that comes out of WHAM has Latin roots. We do palo, but we also do hip hop. You know, we want to conserve the traditions and the culture in the Dominican and Washington Heights, Mexican, Puerto Rican, and all the, you know, the beautiful variety of people that are in the community.
So the fact that you're a social worker and you know the community, did that have a part in your decision to start this group?
Definitely. Me being from the Heights, me working in the Heights, me leaving the Heights for a great education and getting exposed. I went to Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, Columbia University. I know that there are resources out there that make it easier for you to be an artist. Me as an artist who went to LA pursuing my dream also and was there for a year and struggled and ended up coming back home. All those things like inspire me about Washington Heights, and that's why this is our home base for now. But we have artists from around New York City, and now that we went to Japan, we got contacts from around the globe.
But it's also about passing things on to the younger generation. I imagine there are people who are younger than you. Are you guys also involved with kids or younger people in terms of like inspiring them to follow your
Definitely.
steps?
That's who we're reaching out to. Right now, you asked who's WHAM now. It's the artists that are more my generation that have had experiences in the arts. Who we're reaching out to now is the high school kids, the junior high school kids that after school are walking around possibly getting in touch with the wrong people outside in the street.
So how are you doing that? Are you actually going in the high schools and making a presentation?
Right now we have reached out to some of the high schools in the area. It's a contained area, which makes it easier as well. So we can actually hit up every single high school and junior high school there. Until we have the correct funding to fund the programs, we don't have the space either. We're not doing extensive outreach to youth, but when we have our first showcase, like our first gala event, we'll start doing programming to create a nice, beautiful showcase of artists in Washington Heights, so look out for that. And progressing as we get more funding, we'll be paying artists to be the mentors, because artists oftentimes donate their talent to wonderful causes. We want to pay them back for all that hard work that we do as artists.
We're almost out of time, but who are the people who you are proudest of, your colleagues you already mentioned the photographer who was able to travel abroad. Tell me about the success stories.
I mentioned WHAM in Japan. Right now we're working on the WHAM album, and this is all the artists on the album have donated their tracks.
Is that a hip-hop album? Or
it's a mixture, as I said.
Really?
Balo, we have roots music, we have hip-hop, we'll have salsa. We're still building the album now. People are donating tracks. We'll use it as fundraising for the organization. And we're working with a producer named AI. Amazing. His studio's in Washington Heights. He's opened it for this project, and his sound that comes out of there is amazing. Our culinary arts team, we have Kristen, we have Carrie, we have Farah. I'm just naming names. They've been so crucial in getting our board members and people. We love to share food, you know, the arts and food and that kind of sense of community. So that's been a very strong division.
Is there a website where people can find you guys?
Yes. Our website, or where I would like everyone to hit us up who's interested, is on our Facebook, which is the very popular medium, and we're all on there. You can go to facebook.com/joinwham. WHAM is WHAM. So just join WHAM on Facebook. And on YouTube, if you want to see some of us and some videos we've put together, it's youtube.com/WHAMCamTV.